All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're decoding an absolutely fascinating, highly structured piece of documentation. We're going to unpack the source material from Echoes of the Odyssey Prism, taking an exclusive, zoomed-in look at the Strategic Somatics Laboratory, Volume 1, Water as a Regulatory Medium. We're exploring how water acts as the ultimate engine of our presence, and we're not just talking about it as a fluid, but as a regulator, a memory bank, and a literal tool for intentional practice.
This brilliant quote straight from our source material completely shatters the everyday misconception that water is just some beverage you sip when you're thirsty. Instead, it frames water as the foundational technology of the human body. The author explicitly states that water is the medium of our biology. It's the thermal and nervous regulator of our presence and the core support for intentional somatic regulation. It's just a profound shift in how we view the very substance that keeps us alive, right?
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The engine of presence. 2. Established mechanisms. 3. Active research into structured water. 4. The four states of the prism. 5. Breath as a biological link. And finally, 6. The frontier of intention.
Section 1. The engine of presence.
We all know the human adult body is composed of up to 70% water, but what's truly staggering here is that intracellular water alone, the water actually trapped inside your cells, makes up about 40% of your total body weight. This water is the universal solvent for literally every single biochemical reaction that keeps us alive. It's the transport medium for nutrients, it clears out metabolic waste, and it is the core regulator of our central temperature. I mean, we are quite literally walking bodies of water.
Section 2. Established mechanisms, thermal and hydric.
So, temperature isn't just about physical comfort. Immersion in cold water violently activates our sympathetic nervous system. That's your classic fight-or-flight alert response. Conversely, hot water activates the parasympathetic system, which promotes recovery and heavily increases vagal tone. Now, both of these responses are documented clinical facts. They are measurably tracked via heart rate variability and skin temperature.
And this dynamic absolutely extends to our cognitive state. A tiny 1 to 2% drop in body water mass demonstrably reduces cognitive performance and vigilance. It actually increases how difficult every single task feels to you subjectively. The crucial takeaway here, maintaining hydration is not a luxury. It is a strict baseline requirement for cognitive presence. Without it, you're just inviting systemic metabolic chaos into your body.
Section 3. Active research, structured water.
Now we're getting into the really cutting-edge stuff. Let's look at easy water, or exclusion zone water. Discovered and heavily researched by Dr. Gerald Pollack, this is a fully documented laboratory phenomenon. When water comes into contact with hydrophilic or water-loving surfaces, like the biological membranes inside our bodies, it structures itself into a highly ordered liquid crystal phase. It actually changes its molecular formula to H3O2 and carries a measurable negative electrical charge. It acts almost exactly like a biological battery inside our cells, facilitating near instantaneous energy transfers without the usual metabolic friction. The exact theoretical pathway proposed in our source text is just wild. Sensory input, like a specific touch or sound, lowers cortisol and activates the vagus nerve. This stabilizes our ion channels, which in turn expands that EZ water layer all along our fascias, which are the connective tissues in our body. Essentially, this cascade turns our internal connective tissue into a highly efficient bioelectric semiconductor.
Section 4. The four states of the prism.
Okay, so the author organizes intentional practices around 4 specific states of water. First, we have solid. Using ice on the face, for example, stimulates the trigeminal nerve and forces a documented vagal reset to deeply anchor concentration. Second is liquid, which is the primary vector for conscious ingestion and tactile flux. Third, gaseous, using steam and breath to connect the internal body to the external atmosphere. And finally, a conceptual fourth state, cellular. This frames the intentional meaning behind the actual physical exchange of fluids during interpersonal contact.
And listen, these physical rituals aren't just symbolic magic. They are designed to physically penetrate. A light tactile stimulus on the skin triggers endogenous opioids, altering potassium channels, which ultimately expands the exclusion zone of the water at the cellular level. The intention literally utilizes the biology.
Section 5. Breath as biological link.
Did you know an average adult exhales between 300 and 400 milliliters of water every single day? Think about that for a second. That is roughly a large glass of water leaving your body purely in the form of vapor through your breath.
Every single expiration contains water in a gaseous phase. This water was, just moments ago, inside your cells, a byproduct of mitochondrial respiration, heated to 37 degrees Celsius, keeping you alive. This means that breathing intentionally on an object or directing your breath into a space isn't just a metaphor. It's a genuine physiological excretion of metabolic water. Your breath is, quite literally, your internal water entering the world.
Section 6. The Frontier of Intention.
Throughout this documentation, the author is incredibly careful to label exactly what is hard science and what is conceptual. Thermoregulation, vagal tone, and the physics of easy water, those are documented, measurable realities. But the PRISM framework takes those facts and uses them as a metaphorical and practical springboard. It uses the reality of exhaled vapor to create an intentional ritual of mindfulness and boundary setting. The biology completely supports the intention.
And this leaves us with a truly profound, provocative thought to end on. When we engage in these highly structured somatic practices, are we literally reshaping the crystalline structure of the water inside ourselves? Or is it simply that the intense, deliberate attention we pay to the gesture hacks our nervous system, naturally lowering our cortisol? Honestly, perhaps the beauty is that it doesn't matter. Whether through complex biophysics or purely focused attention, the biological result, a calmer, more present human being, is undeniably real. Think about that the next time you take a sip of water, or even just take a deep breath.